Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Intimacy with Allah. Allah is telling you that someone still cannot let you go. And this message touches a deep part of your heart. It's not just a person in your life, but a connection that goes beyond mere physical presence. This connection, sometimes invisible, can manifest itself through emotions, recurring thoughts, or situations you cannot control. By listening to this message, it is important to create an inner space where you can welcome the truth with sincerity and openness. The attachment we feel for certain people is not always negative. It can be an invitation to better understand our own hearts. Allah reminds us that human bonds have a spiritual dimension. They teach us patience, compassion, and sometimes the need to detach ourselves for our own well-being. This message is therefore an inner guidance, a light that illuminates what we must observe and transform within ourselves. Take a moment to ask yourself, why does this connection persist despite efforts to release it? Why do certain emotions seem to return again and again despite the will to let them go? This questioning is not a sign of weakness, but a call to listen with the heart, to welcome what God is teaching us through these experiences. It is essential to understand that this message is not about anger or regret. It is not about blaming others or harboring resentment, but about recognizing a profound truth. Certain bonds stay with us until we are ready to fully understand them. As you continue this reflection, you will discover that every moment of difficulty contains hidden wisdom. What you will hear through this message may seem subtle, but it is powerful. If you listen to it with sincerity and openness, it will reveal the patience, understanding, and light necessary to move forward on your path of faith and life. Allah always guides those who seek sincerely, and this message is an invitation to welcome that guidance and transform this persistent connection into a source of growth and inner clarity. Before you start the video, please consider leaving a like. It really motivates us to continue sharing useful content. Also, don't hesitate to subscribe to our channel and activate the little bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos on the Islamic faith. Thank you all, and enjoy the video. Understanding the link. Some people seem to never let us go, and this phenomenon deserves careful observation. Sometimes it is not just a matter of will or superficial attachment, but a deeper connection that is beyond our immediate understanding. Allah teaches us that these connections can have spiritual or karmic meaning, and that they appear to help us grow and understand our own path. The influence of emotions plays a central role in these bonds. Love, guilt, protection, or even fear can create invisible but powerful attachments. These feelings, sometimes unconscious, maintain relationships despite external changes. Deep attachment is not limited to visible interactions. It is inscribed in our minds and hearts, shaping our perception of ourselves and others. Faith is an essential tool for understanding these connections. It allows us to step back, view the situation wisely, and recognize Allah's presence in every experience. By cultivating trust in God, we can observe these connections without being dominated by them, and find a balance between what we feel and what we need to accept or release. These connections affect our daily lives in many ways. They influence our decisions, our emotional reactions, and sometimes our inner peace. Ignoring this influence can lead to confusion or frustration, but by accepting it, we can learn valuable lessons about ourselves and others. It is important to identify what each relationship teaches us. Allah uses these experiences to show us where we need patience, compassion, and understanding. Difficulty is not there to punish us, but to guide us. By recognizing the wisdom hidden in these relationships, we develop a better understanding of our emotions and motivations. The notion of patience and perspective is crucial. Taking time to observe, reflect, and listen to our hearts allows us to navigate these relationships with serenity. Allah reminds us that each relationship has its own rhythm, and that detachment does not mean rupture, but balance and awareness. Cultivating patience with these relationships prepares us to experience them in a more conscious and enlightened way, in harmony with divine guidance. The message of Allah. The message Allah sends us through these persistent connections is a profound and full of wisdom. Sometimes, someone's continued presence in our lives is not a mere coincidence, but a divine indication that invites us to reflect on our spiritual path. Allah speaks to us through the experiences we live, and each difficult connection can contain valuable guidance. This persistent bond can be seen as a test of faith. It tests our patience, our ability to love without possessiveness, and our ability to accept what is beyond our control. In this test, Allah reminds us that true detachment is not about running away from relationships, but about living them with awareness and balance. The message can also be aimed at our inner growth. Every interaction, every emotion that passes through us is an opportunity to learn about ourselves and our relationship with Allah. We are invited to observe our reactions, identify our unconscious attachments, and transform them into strengths for our spiritual evolution. Allah reminds us that destiny and His will are perfect. Even when we don't understand why certain connections persist, it's important to trust in His wisdom. Faith then becomes an essential tool for navigating these experiences with serenity and clarity. Prayer and meditation play a central role in this guidance. They allow us to connect directly with Allah, ask for understanding and strength, and receive the light we need to discern what is good for our souls. This message also invites us to recognize what is holding us back and to act with discernment. It is not about denying our emotions, but about understanding them, accepting them, and using them to bring us closer to divine truth. Allah encourages us to act with wisdom and compassion. Even in times of tension or difficulty, we are guided to respond with love and patience, without judgment or hurt. This message reminds us that inner freedom is paramount. No matter how persistent external ties may be, our hearts and minds can remain free, protected by faith and trust in Allah. By listening to this message with sincerity, we discover a spiritual depth that transforms our experience of relationships and brings us closer to divine guidance. How to manage this link? Managing a persistent bond requires discernment, patience, and faith. Allah shows us that some attachments are learning opportunities, not permanent obstacles. Accepting what cannot be changed is the first step. It is not about resignation, but about acknowledging reality with honesty and serenity. Learning detachment without hatred is essential. Even if someone seems to be holding us back, it is possible to maintain a pure and kind heart. Detachment does not mean violently cutting ties, but knowing how to remain balanced in the face of emotion and situations. Setting boundaries respectfully is another crucial aspect. Allah teaches us that each individual must protect their inner space. Setting clear and fair boundaries helps maintain harmony and prevent frustration or resentment. Patience and reflection are essential. Observing our reactions and analyzing our feelings helps us understand why certain connections persist. Faith guides us to avoid reacting impulsively and to maintain a clear vision of situations. Prayer is a powerful tool for receiving guidance and strength. By addressing Allah with sincerity, we ask not only for understanding our relationships, but also for the ability to act wisely. Meditation and spiritual connection help to calm the heart and clarify the mind. Observing emotions without judgment is also essential. Acknowledging our feelings without becoming attached to them or repressing them helps us navigate relationships with maturity and awareness. Allah teaches us to welcome emotion as messages from the soul. Cultivating trust in ourselves and in God strengthens our ability to manage these relationships. Knowing that every situation has meaning and that God guides our steps gives us the strength to act with justice and balance. Transforming the connection into a growth experience is the ultimate goal. Every lasting relationship is an opportunity to learn, understand, and grow spiritually. By following divine guidance, we can convert emotional challenges into wisdom and inner peace, and move forward on our path with clarity and confidence. Lessons to be learned. Every lasting connection in our lives contains valuable lessons that Allah invites us to recognize. Understanding that every connection is a source of learning helps us change our perspective on difficult situations. Even when we want to leave or the relationship seems burdensome, there is always a lesson to be learned. Recognizing our own strengths and weaknesses is an essential step. Allah shows us that relationships often reflect what we carry within ourselves. Observing our reactions, attachments, and emotions allows us to better understand ourselves and progress on the spiritual path. Gratitude plays a central role. Even relationships that cause pain can teach us patience, compassion, and self-control. Learning to give thanks for experiences, whether easy or difficult, strengthens our connection with Allah and develops our emotional maturity.
Forgiveness, even silent forgiveness, is key. Letting go of resentment or grudges frees us and purifies our hearts. Allah teaches us that forgiveness is a strength, not a weakness, and that it opens the way to inner peace and clarity. Strengthening one's faith in the face of challenges is essential. Every lasting connection is an opportunity for trust and connection with Allah. When we exercise patience and faith, we discover that even complex situations carry meaning and benefit for our souls. Emotional resilience is developed through experience. Enduring connections teach us to remain balanced despite intense emotions and to face challenges with courage and serenity. Identifying what is beneficial or harmful allows us to act with discernment. Allah guides us not to get caught up in toxic or destructive relationships, but to focus on what fosters our growth and inner peace. Each connection prepares the heart for new steps. The accumulated experiences become a solid foundation for moving forward, for choosing wisely, and for welcoming future relationships with awareness and balance. Allah uses these lessons to guide us toward a more harmonious life, filled with wisdom, patience, and spiritual enlightenment, deepening the relationship with Allah. To navigate persistent connections and understand their meaning, it is essential to strengthen our relationship with Allah. Meditation and prayer are powerful ways to connect directly with Him, receive guidance and clarity, and find serenity in the face of difficult situations. Reading and reflecting on divine messages nourishes the mind and enlightens the heart. By understanding Allah's teachings, we develop a deeper insight into our relationships and their role in our spiritual growth. Cultivating humility and patience is essential. Allah teaches us that self-control and acceptance of events are part of wisdom. Acknowledging our limitations while trusting in divine guidance allows us to navigate experiences with serenity. Recognizing the wisdom hidden in trials is a key step. Even when we don't immediately understand why a connection persists, there is always spiritual learning to be had. Every difficulty can be transformed into an opportunity for growth through faith and reflection. Avoiding blaming others for our blockages is essential. Allah reminds us that every experience is a mirror of our inner state and our relationship with Him. Personal responsibility helps us grow and become aware of our choices and emotions. Understanding that everything happens according to Allah's will gives us inner peace. Nothing is left to chance, and every persistent connection has a reason that can gradually reveal itself to those who seek sincerely. Seeking light, even in dark times, strengthens our faith. Even in the midst of difficult relationships, Allah guides those who seek His presence and teaches them to discern good from evil, the lesson of hardship and the strength of the heart. Building a faith independent of others is the key to inner freedom. By deepening our relationship with Allah, we learn to find support, guidance, and security in our spiritual connection, rather than in human relationships alone. This intimate relationship with the divine transforms our perception of enduring connections, making them sources of learning, peace, and wisdom. Transforming the message into action. Receiving Allah's message is only the beginning. True progress comes when we translate it into concrete actions in our daily lives. Identifying what we can change within ourselves is the first step. It involves recognizing our emotions, reactions, and attachments, and consciously deciding to direct them toward peace and wisdom. Letting go of what doesn't serve our growth is a necessary step.
Certain relationships or behaviors can hold us back into unnecessary or painful attachment patterns. Allah guides us to discern what is beneficial for our heart and mind and what needs to be released in order to move forward. Cultivating compassion and understanding is also essential. Even when we decide to step back, it's important to maintain an open heart and view others with kindness. This principle helps transform any experience into an opportunity for learning and forgiveness. Making decisions aligned with our values strengthens our integrity and inner clarity. Allah reminds us that living in accordance with our faith and principles protects us from impulsive or destructive choices and brings us closer to divine guidance. Communicating with honesty and respect is a concrete way to put the message into practice. Expressing our needs, boundaries, and feelings transparently fosters healthier relationships and reduces misunderstandings while staying true to our hearts. Avoiding fear and anger in relationships helps maintain serenity. Intense emotion can lead us astray. Allah invites us to respond with calm and discernment, letting our faith guide our actions rather than our impulses. Acting with faith rather than frustration transforms our experiences. Every challenge becomes a way to draw closer to Allah and strengthen our wisdom, rather than feeling resentment or confusion. Celebrating every spiritual progress is crucial. Even small steps towards self-control, healthy detachment, and understanding connections are victories. Allah teaches us that every sincere effort is recognized and rewarded, and that transforming the message into action allows us to grow in peace, clarity, and inner light. So, the Allah's message about enduring bonds reminds us that every relationship has a role in our life's journey. Even when someone cannot let us go, there is a divine reason behind it. Allah invites us to observe, understand, and transform every experience into spiritual learning. It's important to remember that every lasting connection contains valuable lessons. By accepting them with patience and faith, we develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. Even if the situation seems difficult, it contributes to our growth and emotional and spiritual maturity. Listening to your heart sincerely is essential. Allah encourages us not to ignore our emotions, but to examine them carefully, discerning what is beneficial and distancing ourselves from what hinders us. This attentive listening helps us act with wisdom and balance. Prayer and meditation remain essential tools for receiving guidance and clarity. By regularly connecting with Allah, we find the strength to navigate our relationships, overcome challenges, and make choices aligned with our faith and values. Healthy detachment is a key to inner freedom. It's not about abruptly cutting ties, but about understanding what's holding us back and acting with discernment. Allah shows us that true freedom comes from self-control and trust in His will. Patience and wisdom are essential to navigate complex situations. Even when the bond persists, we can remain calm, balanced, and guided by faith. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow and strengthen our relationship with Allah. It is essential to maintain hope and confidence. Allah is always with us and guides those who sincerely seek to understand and act on His teachings. Every step forward, however small, is precious and deserves to be celebrated as a step towards inner peace and spiritual clarity. This message encourages us to transform every experience into a source of wisdom and light. And by following divine guidance, we can move forward with confidence, love, and discernment, and welcome every relationship and connection with an open and peaceful heart.